Hello everyone, it's Henry on the live stream. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I hope everyone can hear me and can also see my screen very clearly. If you cannot hear me or cannot see my screen very clearly, please indicate so that I can have that fixed before we commence. So we're going to start by talking about the US dollar index, and we're going to start from the daily time frame. And on the daily time frame, as you can see, the purple zone that I marked over a week ago, and I said this is my key level that I'm waiting for the dollar to gravitate into. And if I was to look for a reversal in the marketplace, it's going to be at this key level. And right here, you can also see the phases in the market that I talked about. Right here, this was the this was the consolidation phase. And after the consolidation phase, the next thing we see is the expansion phase. After the expansion phase, all we'll be looking out for to see in the marketplace is going to be either a reversal or a retracement. So in this key level right here, we're going to be expecting one of two things. It's either going to be a retracement or a reversal. But in my opinion, as you can see right here, we have an inefficiency resting right here, and dollar came into that inefficiency and rejected off that inefficiency. Take note that we still have another inefficiency resting right here. So this high is also a buy side liquidity. The price could potentially want to run that liquidity. In as much as I'm not saying it's going to run that liquidity, but it's also something to put into perspective just in case it happens so you're not surprised. But in my opinion, overall, what I'm looking out for to see in the marketplace, we go to the 31-day time frame. You can see we're currently in an inefficiency resting right here. Looking at the overall structure in the marketplace for the dollar, you can see that we're consistently creating higher highs and higher lows and higher highs. So the overall market structure on the dollar remains bullish, but intraday levels, all we're expecting to see is if the market should come to the downside, that could potentially present an opportunity to accumulate long positions on the USD XXX pairs. So that being said, we go back to the weekly time frame to see what it's doing. Right here was our last impulsive move that mitigated this inefficiency before it dropped down. And if we go to the daily time frame, we can see that price has been consistently creating a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and a lower low, and a lower high, and a lower low. So that being said, all we'll be looking out for is to see how this is going to affect the foreign currencies. Now, if we are to be bearish, now that we have tapped into our key level, if we are to be bearish on the dollar and then expect to see a reversal from this key level, we'll be looking out to see a 15-minute shift of market structure. And so far, you can see price created this high. We created a high, a low, another high right here, and then this low. And then as you can see, liquidity got taken from this high. So if we are to go bearish on the dollar, what I would be expecting to see would be a potential run on liquidity, run on the sell side. If we do see that and price break structure right here, closing below that structure, then that could potentially be a shift of market structure. And all we'll be anticipating to see afterwards is going to be a retracement and then a potential continuation to the downside. So that is the only thing I'll be looking forward to see on the dollar. And if we don't see a 15-minute shift to market structure, then that means that dollar could potentially keep trending to the upside, and this low will eventually get taken. Also take note that this high will eventually get taken. Also take note that this high resting right here is also a buy side liquidity and also a relative equal high. So that is also another thing I'm watching. If we don't reject up this key level and then reverse, then this high is going to be our next target. The price will potentially rally above it. So that being said, I'm going to go to the foreign currencies and see what the foreign currencies are doing. The likes of Euro US dollar and also gold, GBP US dollar as well. So for Euro US dollar, I talked about this key level for weeks now. If we go to the daily time frame for Euro US dollar, you can see we have this inefficiency resting right here. And even though price was around here last week, I said I wanted to see it gravitate into this inefficiency, run this sell side liquidity, tap into this candle without wicks. And then once we're in there and I see a shift in market structure on the 15 minutes time frame, then I'll potentially be looking for buys to take this to the upside. Because if you look at the daily time frame, you can see that on the daily time frame, we've been consistently gravitating to the upside, making higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs. So all I'm anticipating to see will be a potential higher low and then a higher high. This right here is my drawn liquidity, the magnet attracting price to the upside, and I'm anticipating to see this key level attract price to the upside. So that is the reason why I'm consistently watching this very closely. And if I do see a shift in market structure from this key level, I'll be looking for buys to rally into this position. So we'll go to the 4 hour time frame to see what the 4 hour time frame is showing us. And all I can see right here is the key level. And then if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, you can see the purple line right here. That's the open of the inefficiency resting right here. And then from this green line to this green line, if we go to the 30 minutes time frame, you can see on the 30 minutes, this is the open and this is the previous high. So the midpoint is this key level. This midpoint right here is the vacuum between the high and this low. So once price taps into this key level, and I do see a 15-minute shift in market structure, I'll be looking for buys to take it to the upside. And as you can see, we've tapped into that key level. We've tapped into that key level right now. So all we're looking at right now is to see whether price is going to show us a break of structure right here, creating another high and then another low. So we've not broken any structure to the upside. So basically we don't have any trade to get into. So all we're going to do is to be on the sidelines and be watching this very closely. And if we do eventually see that shift in market structure on the up to the upside, then we will be looking for entries. And once we've entered, we'll also look for re-entry positions because in my opinion, this is a swing move. And once price is making this move, I'll be anticipating to see this move do a huge upside move. So if we calculating from the low right here to the high, you can see that's about 293 pips, almost 300 pips trade. That is the reason why I'm watching this very closely. And if I eventually see a beautiful trade off there, I'll also post it for everyone to benefit from that trade. So that being said, that is my analysis on Euro US dollar, and we're gonna look at other pairs like gold as well. So for gold, I was anticipating for a sell on gold, but for some reason the market is not really presenting me with the sells. And right here you can see how price just dropped down after coming very close to my entry position, but it failed to tap me in. And then all we saw was this displacement to the downside, running stop losses. So, in my opinion, I still want to see gold drop to the downside, even though I was expecting it to run liquidity first before dropping to the downside. I'm potentially running this sell side liquidity. But that is the thing with the marketplace. You can never be so certain about what the market is going to do. All we are is market participants, and some days we're right, some days we're wrong. But for this trade, all I need to invalidate this trade is this sell side liquidity get taken. If the market should gravitate below this low and take this liquidity, then that means this trade idea becomes invalid. I'm also going to run you all through the reason why I believe that this is a key level for me to watch for price to come into. So if we go to the 4 hour time frame, everything is already outlined, so I'm just going to explain it. If we go to the 4 hour time frame, you can see that we've been consistently creating higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So the structure, the market structure remains bullish for gold. And so far, you can see right here, after we created this higher high, if we go to the daily time frame, this was the last move to the downside before an expansion that broke structure. Price came into it. All I wanted to see was a 30-minute shift of market structure. And if we go to 30 minutes time frame, we can see we'll have structure here, high and low. And right here, price rallied above that high, breaking structure right here. So after the structure was broken, all I want to see is for price to come back into this key level before a continuation to the upside. And if we go to the current price action, you're going to see that the green line is what I'm anticipating for price to come into. But as you can see, price didn't come into that key level. And then it came very close and then expanded high. Now, if we go to the 4 hour time frame, on the 4 hour time frame, you can see that we're creating this high, low. We didn't really create a higher high right here, but then we created a higher high, higher low, higher high, and then failed to create a lower low, failed to create a higher high, then drop down, breaking structure right here. And after that, you can see how price has consistently been dropping and creating lower lows, lower highs. You can see that right here. After we broke this structure, we came back up, created a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, failed to rally above this high, then we'll drop down again. So after that drop down, I expected to see this low to get swept because price is already showing me that it wants to go to the downside. It wants to gravitate into this key level that I've been waiting for it to come into. It wants to come in that key level. Now, what do we see right here? Right here, we can see a very small inefficiency. Price came back up into it, mitigated it. All I want to see is a drop down, breaking 15 minutes time frame. And right here, we have a low, a high, a drop, a break of structure right there. You can see the break of structure. All I'm looking forward to now see is the last impulsive move to the upside before the drop down the broke structure, which is this key level. So you can see this was the last move to the upside and a drop breaking structure. So I wanted to see price gravitate into this key level, run liquidity, and then drop to the downside. But as you can see, price came into that key level, mitigated it, and then continued to the downside. So there wasn't really much momentum to take price to rally above this buy side liquidity. And if for any reason we run below this low, then that sell limit order is going to be invalid and I'll have to remove that. So you all should be watching as well. If price runs this sell side liquidity, it means the sell limit order on the app has become invalidated and there wouldn't be any need to still have it on. So that is all I'm looking forward to see on gold. And if we do eventually come into this key level, I'll be looking for buys. But until then, between this structural leg low, structural leg high, I'll continue looking for shorts to keep going to the downside into this key level. But it doesn't mean that you can't find the buy. You can find a buy that can still yield profit, but it's just basically when I'm trading, I like to just follow the trend because it feels more easier for me to follow the trend. And once price comes into this key level and I see the trend shift going back to the upside, I will look for buy entries and then take it to the upside. So that is my analysis on gold and what I'm anticipating to see in the marketplace. So far, as you can see, it's very close to my invalidation point. Once price invalidates that zone, I'm just going to have to collapse the sell limits order. So the next one we're going to look at is GBP US dollar. I want to see what the market is doing on GBP US dollar. So for GBP US dollar, I talked about the inefficiency resting right here. And as you can see, price came into it. And I said, all I want to see is rejection from this key level and a drop down into this key level. And as you can see, price tapped into this key level, rejected off it, dropped down. And now we're back into the inefficiency on the 4-hour time frame. And after this mitigation, all I want to see is a 15-minute shift of market structure. And potentially we could see a rally on GBP US dollar. So this is one pair that I rarely trade, but for some time now, I'm seeing a lot of consistency in the market reactions and how it's following through with my analysis and where I'm anticipating for it to come to. So probably in the nearest future, maybe we can start dropping trades on GBP US dollar as well. But for now, all we do is to wait for price to show us the 15-minute shift of market structure from this key level. So right here, you can see we have a high, a low, a high, a low. So this can actually be a shift of market structure and price coming back down into this inefficiency. And then potentially we could see a rally on GBP US dollar. So if this right here, we see a low, a high, a low, and then a break. So if this is potentially a break of structure, all I would like to see on GU will be for it to come down into this inefficiency break structure on the smaller time frame, 5-minute shift of market structure, and then an expansion to the upside. But I rarely trade GBP US dollar, but if I was to trade it, this is what I'm going to be looking out for. And if we smash through and run this liquidity, I'll still be waiting to see another 15-minute shift of market structure. And my interest will be for it to go to the upside. So that being said, that is my analysis on GBP US dollar. And I'll look at gold briefly to see what it's doing. So the next one we're going to look at is GBPJPY. So far on GBPJPY yesterday, after price came into this key level, let's go to the weekly time frame. So overall, GBPJPY is still showing us bullishness. And as you can see, GBPJPY still wants to gravitate to the upside. So we're not going to try to trade against the trend, but rather we'll focus on trading with the trend. Right here, we'll have a volume imbalance. Then we'll scale down to the daily. So you can see we'll have this inefficiency right here. Price slammed through it, used it as support, expanded higher. So all I would have loved to see from that key level would be for a 15-minute shift of market structure. And right here, so you can see right here, we'll have a high, a low, and a break of structure. This was the last impulsive move to the downside before an expansion that broke structure. So I was basically waiting for price to come into this key level and show me a 3-minute shift of market structure. But look at how close price came into it. A few pips before arriving into that key level. And then all I saw was an expansion. So we missed out on this beautiful trade yesterday. And I waited for quite some time for it to come in, but it didn't. Then I had to backtest, and I realized that even though we missed it, there was another way we could have actually entered into this trade to capture this 1:15 risk to reward. But that's okay. We missed out on that one. The opportunity in the market doesn't ever end. It's endless, and every day the market is going to present us with more opportunities, and we don't try to chase trades. So right now it's gone, and the only place I'll anticipate for this to come back into would be at this key level, probably for liquidity, maybe the sell side liquidity. but I wouldn't trade it from here because it's basically too extended for me. I like to buy a discount and sell a premium. And so far, we're basically almost at the high, so it's pointless for me to start looking for buys at this key level. Unless price should, for any reason, come back into this key level, then I'll look for potential entries into the marketplace. But without that, there isn't any trade for me right here on British pound, Japanese yen. So that being said, let's look briefly on gold to see what it's doing again. So for some reason, gold is just not really delivering to the downside and also not coming into our key level. Maybe it will come into our key level, but if it takes this low, then we'll just have to close the trade. So that being said, if there's any question regarding anything I talked about on the live stream, you all are free to ask. We're going to look at USD card as well, what USD card is doing. So for USD card, if we look at the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame on USD card, you can see right here, we'll have a low, we'll have a high, we'll have a low, and we'll have a high. And right here, we'll have a break of structure. Price broke this previous low. So all I'll be looking out for to see on this pair is for price to gravitate to the upside into the last move to the upside that broke that structure, which is this key level. So this key level right here is my point of interest on USD card. And if I do eventually see a 15-minute shift to market structure on USD card from this key level, I'm going to be looking for sells to take it to the outside, to the downside, and potentially run this low. But if I don't see any 15-minute shift to market structure right here, then that means that price will potentially continue higher to even run this high. So for me, all I'm looking forward to see on this pair is a 15-minute shift to market structure from here. And if I do see that, I'll look for sales and I'll sell this to run the sell side liquidity. So that is all I see on USD card. And if you have any questions or anything I said you don't understand, you're free to ask. You can drop it on the chart and I'll be there to answer. So that is all I see in the marketplace. So for USD card, right here on the 15 minutes time frame, and price is not really showing a good structure. So and so far you can see we created this high right here, created this low. So I want to see a break above the high, and if we're bearish, then I would like to see a break of structure to the downside. And then if price comes back into the level of the break, I'll look for entries and then continue to the downside. So if I don't see this, then that means there's no trade for me on USD card. But if I do see this, then that means I'm going to look for entry positions on USD card for sales. So that is my analysis on USD card. If you have any questions, anything I said you don't understand, you're free to ask. So that is my analysis, and I appreciate you all for tuning in, spending time out of your busy schedules to be on the live stream. You all amazing. Thank you for being a part of my work club. And until next time, I'll talk to you all later. Have an amazing day, everyone.